Nature Guiding Company, we're heading out to go and see the arrival of the 2020 massive flood. I think it's the biggest in 60 years, and it's, we think, about 7 or 8 kilometers from Maun. So we're going to go have a look at that this morning. So this is the Botswana River, which is the exiting channel, main drainage channel from the Okavango, and it's arrived here probably last night, slowly making its way down to the fault line or the edge of the Rift Valley. It's about 5 or 6 kilometers from us. So this is all very exciting here in Maun. People are betting. This is lifeblood for all these subsistence farmers, etc. The livestock, irrigation for farms, etc. So it's a really important annual event. The floods arriving in Maun. Okay, so here we are at the headwaters of the Okavango flood. You can see the water is really pushing it very, very fast. And yeah, slowly, well, quite fast, making its way down to Maun, the exit portion of the Okavango. So out of all the water that arrives in Maun, in the Okavango annually, about 95% of it is actually lost through evaporation or trans-evaporation. Whereas the remaining will be seeping into the ground and used. But you can see how dirty the water is. Within about a month or so, this will become crystal clear. And if you look down at my hand here, some aquatic life, some of the diversity of the Okavango. We've got freshwater mussels on the right here, and giant water snails. Yeah, all very important for the function of the ecosystem. Many birds feed on them, various animals, otters, etc. We do have otters here. So this is a miracle of life, really. The Okavango normally covers about, depending on the floods, but can cover up to 15,000 kilometers squared in high flood. When it reduces, you normally have about 5,000 or 6,000 kilometers squared of permanent swamp, which acts as a natural filtration system from the roots of the papyrus and reeds on the edge of the channels to the sand. That filters out the already clean water coming in, to the point where the water in parts of the upper channels is crystal clear and probably cleaner than the water that here in Maun. But essentially it's a life-giving force coming into the Kalahari Desert or the Kalahari semi-desert. Wonderful. Okavango. If you look now, we're going over the Matlapandeng Bridge, which is a bridge over the Tamalakani River. And this is the Rift Valley on the right-hand side, southern side is the Rift Valley. Everything to the left, going north, is the actual valley up to about 150, 160 kilometers up. So this river bed here, which is dry now, is waiting to receive the water we've just seen coming from the border. The border hits it at a right angle, hits the fault line, and then starts spilling both northward and southward. So in 2 months' time, this might be full of water. Boating will take place up here. You can boat from here into the Okavango, or Koro, etc. Folks, just I wanted to take your attention to this wonderful habitat around us here. This is called mapani, these tall trees, and it's all quite sort of uniform and monotone. This is almost what we call cathedral mapani, which is very tall mapani. But mapani is really important in the savanna biome, which we're in, specifically for elephants and many other of the large seasonal moving animals during the summertime specifically. One of the reasons is mapani typically grows in soils which are clay rich, so in other words during the rainy season any depressions, those depressions will capture water, creating seasonal water pans which are vital for the lifeblood of many animals, from elephants to buffaloes to zebras. Yes, as a guide, what's quite important is the way you structure your interpretation of the environment and the animals that are out there. There's so much to talk about. And often you have guests who may be with you for, I've been on safari for 22 days with the same guests. So you always want to have some information to share with your guests. Easiest way to start is look at what you're looking at. What is the animal doing? What is the social organization? What behavior is it engaged in? And then you interpret that aspect, the most interesting parts, and from there you can then elaborate onto other points of interest of the animal, all based on people's questions. Yeah. But a key part is always try and find something that is fascinating. I call it looking for the wow factors. Yeah. Get things that make. No. Stop here. Yeah. Just keeping its comfort distance with us in the vehicle. Yeah, so these are red lechwe, which are quite almost endemic to the Okavango Delta, but you find them in other parts of Africa where you have a lot of shallow floodplains, seasonal floodplains. So this is a armored cricket. Yeah. Pretty ugly looking thing, related to crickets, grasshoppers, locusts. Okay, just looking and identifying and interpreting animal tracks on the ground. So for the untrained eye, this can be quite a task because you look at so many shapes and it can be quite difficult. You've got to think out the box, think logically, and clearly we can see there's a long drag mark. So typically people think snake, but snakes seldomly move in a straight line. Some of them do. Normally in a serpentine, a sort of S shape. But there are some snakes that move in a straight line or linear movement, which would be python or puff adder, but they don't have any legs. Okay, so we've got a water crossing. It looks fairly passable, but rather be safe than sorry. So either it's better to go and check. You walk through the water to make sure it's not too soft or not too deep. But it's very important to go into the right gear, so you put it into low range. If you want it, diff lock, if you're not sure. And then a common mistake people make when driving 4x4s is they think the faster you go, the less chance you have of getting stuck. But when you're in a muddy area, even in a sandy area, if you're going too fast, your wheels spin, and that digs you down into the dirt. So once your differentials hit the ground, your wheels no longer have traction, you get stuck. So the best way we found in the Okavango is to go very, very slowly through water and mud. So you're slowly going through rather than spinning. Okay, let's give it a go. So we have the bottom jaw of an elephant. This was an elephant. Quite a large one, very, very heavy, very solid bone. Wow. Compared to the top skull, is much lighter. You can see there's a definite little entrance portion here. That's where it easily can put its trunk in to put water in. And then we're looking at the teeth, the molars. Two sets. There's one set coming in from the back. You can see they push in from these sockets. Push in from the back. And as this one's wearing down, it slowly knocks off, and this one will replace. So this is getting much smoother, and this is replaced.
Slightly too far. He's decided his distance.
Just off, concealed. So this is a wonderful raptor, quite unique. It's called an African harrier hawk. The old name is gymnogene. If you actually look closely, you see it's got no feathers on the face, so bare skin. Hence the name gymnogene. Gymno meaning gymnastic, Greek, witcher, naked, gene meaning face, so naked face. So this is a small fraction of the elephants that occur in Botswana. We've got the highest population of elephants in the world. Maybe 1/3, even more than 1/3 of the African elephant population exists in northern Botswana. Somewhere around 150,000 elephants. There's only about 400,000 left. 50 years ago, close to 1 million. 100 years ago, estimates anywhere between 3 to 5 million. So there's been massive decline of elephants due to ivory trade, and now which is illegal. Yeah, they estimate there's one elephant poached every 3 hours in Africa, just for the teeth. Chewed in the teeth, yeah. It's not very fibrous like bark and leaves. A lot of nutrition, easily digested. But obviously in Africa, in the savanna biome anyway, we have our wet season and our dry season. So we're coming into our dry season now. A lot of the grass is dying back, and the elephants will start changing their diet from grass to trees, bark, roots, leaves. Youngsters in the water there, fantastic. Elephants love water. Obviously here in the Okavango, it's absolute paradise for them, man. There's water everywhere. If you fly over at the moment, which we'll see in some videos later, there is water everywhere, food everywhere. It's an absolute paradise for elephants and other animals. Elephants doing what they do best, eating. Wow. And a trunk is vital for their daily feeding habits. Ripping up grass, pulling off fruit singularly, pulling off bark, drinking. Well, they're saying the elephant's trunk is divided up into many different types of muscles. Over 100,000 muscles in the elephant's trunk. From circular ones, longitudinal muscles, they can stretch, twist, turn, suck. Yeah. Yeah, the zebra in the background. Becoming indented. You've got two youngsters over here, probably young boys, playing around with each other, vying for rank.
These trunks off on that.
Little one there. Bit of tiny trunk.
Amazing how they suddenly on cue started moving on, huh? Even though we were here, something just made them decide to move on. Watch this car, yeah? She comes here, just remain calm.
It's a bull again.
Looks like a young male, yeah. Definitely you can see between his legs, eh? Often the younger bulls are quite, or show a lot of signs of aggression, or pushing, showing off the muscles, but often not very serious. Yeah, you can see this grass grass over here, all clumped up. Yeah. These are the seeds of the grass, yeah. And they're all kind of bent, clumped up. Now, if you take this and just watch that. See how it's turning?
Changing colour.
No, it's not
Oh, it's
changing
moving.
colour.
It's moving, yeah.
yeah.
Absorbing the moisture.
Yeah, so, and this very, very spiky point at the front here, that's where the seed is. So what happens is when the rains come, obviously all these seeds are dry, they clump together. When the rains come, it drops into the ground. That moisture then helps to drill that sharp point into the ground. So it puts the seed into the soil, which gives it more chance of germination. It's called a spear grass. Pretty fascinating.
Interesting, yeah.
Spear grass.
Don't you forget what I mean? Yeah, it's always like...
What a hyena tracks.
Grand hornbill up ahead. Yeah, them calling this morning. Early.
Behind us.
The hornbills.
Oh, impala. Whoa.
Oh, yeah,
So we came to look for impala, huh? There we go. Excellent guiding. We can go back. The tree. Vultures. A lot of tracks here. Zebras, giraffe, elephants. And last nights probably too. Rest in the safety of the openness. And a vulture on the tree there. I'll stop in a moment. We'll look back so we can get some good light on it. There's a vulture.
Which vulture?
That's a white-backed vulture. It's common. So people say, oh, there must be a kill because there's a vulture, but obviously they need to sleep at night. So he's been roosting here, and he won't fly now because it's too cold. For that vulture to get high up and start soaring, it'll have to flap its way up there. So it's simply waiting for the sun to start warming the earth surface, which then creates thermals, circular air rising, and then they'll start flying around. As she was chewing the cud. You see our mouth's moving continuously. So it's a ruminant like a cow, and once the first two chambers of her stomach are full, because they've got 4 chambers, ruminants, then she'll stop feeding and regurgitate small balls of fairly coarse plant material, and then rechew it, refine it, swallow it, and it goes through the digestive process. It's quite heavy, whereas I mean leopard, big male leopard here, but the fact that there's a bigger lioness track there, I'm going to assume it's a young lion, and quite wide. Yeah. Okay, and it's basking in the sun, huh? Obviously it's been cold. It's pretty relaxed. It's doing what it does for defense, just sitting there motionless. How I know it's a Mozambican spitting cobra is just the shape. It's quite short. The head is quite round, yeah, well, stocky, but just below the head and going down on the neck, I don't know if you saw that, there was a sort of pale pinky colours and bands. That was a Mozambican spitting cobra, huh?
Nice.
And Mozambican spitting cobra track.
Yeah.
Now whether you're going to remember that or not, that's cool, eh? So there was a Mozambican spitting cobra, and a lot of people come into Africa and they think, whoa, venomous snakes, it's dangerous, we're going to die, we can't walk. But it's extremely safe when you are out here in Africa. Snakes are scared of us as humans, so if you're walking along 99.9% of the time, they actually pick up your vibrations that you're coming forward, and they'll move off so that they slither away from you. Yeah. So there's very little chance that you'll actually bump into a snake. If you do bump into it, it's going to be moving away from you. So it's not very dangerous. We have more termite action. These are not harvesting termites, because harvested termites only feed on grass. Here they're specifically focusing on the elephant dropping. And they're building these tunnels over the head, so they'll come in from underground and consume from below. Ask some questions, Tony, go for it. What do you want?
So, Cliffy, what are these tracks?
This is an animal.
Yeah, it looks like a big one.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, so this is hippo, and I'm just going to circle it. Yeah, hippo track, and it's actually going that way. Yep. Hippos have got 4 toes. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could mistake it for a rhino. They've got 3 toes. It's often the first 2 toes of the hippo, the central ones anyway, they kind of diffuse into form one. But a rhino would then have a definite hoof over here.
Yeah.
So this is hippo. There's actually a hippo lagoon behind us. So it was coming out here last night. You see, it's quite fresh though. Very sharp, sharp edges, kind of shiny. So that's a hippopotamus. Earlier about insects, you can see these are trails insects. Yeah, it's one of the beetles. Got 3 legs on the one side and 3 on the other, and they typically move at night. So likely a tenebrinoid or a toktoki beetle, ones that knock their abdomen on the ground for communication. So this walked, the beetle walked here last night. The lion track stood on top. So yeah, I think it's probably a good idea that we turn around and actually go down the river. We might bump into this animal here.
See, I think this
As you can see, the lion's actually walked along the road here. He's walked in into this bush. There's a little bit of movement here. This may be a territory marking. Sometimes they'll walk in and they'll spray urine. Yeah, so their penis is actually pointed backwards. They'll spray urine and then they'll scuff the back feet like this. There's glands between their feet. What they also do is they'll come up and they'll rub their chin against the branch, just like your house cat does. When you get home, what does your house cat do? Comes and rubs its cheeks or its face on your legs. There's chin glands and cheek glands that they have, just spreading scent. This male lion, there's 2 of them. It looks like we're definitely patrolling and marking territory. That's their function. One of their functions is to defend and stabilize the territory for procreation and food, etc.
And how big can the territories be?
It varies so much. It could be. It all depends on the amount of prey available, size of prey, but then also how many other lions are in the area. We'll go a little bit further down and then turn back, get into the main Mokoto and see if we can do a walk.
Got the lion tracks there.
Yeah, so we've done a bit of a circle. We now picked up the lion tracks again. They're going downriver. So that's our direction, huh? Hopefully. Okay, so folks, we found these lions. We tracked them down. So it's around the corner. Just remember, keep voices down and keep seated. Yeah? All good?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Lions.
And a male mating.
Yeah, so it's a male and a female, huh? We've got mating lions, folks. See how the male's following the female lion love. First time? Remain calm. If he comes again, just.
The female's got herself under a crouch.
A good thing to do here is obviously to back off slightly to give him a bit of space. But still, so we'll wait for him to calm down a bit and then we'll move off. He may come again. Okay, we'll just back off. He may come again. Okay, he might come here. But just relax, don't move fast if he does come. I'm kind of stuck here. If I move now, he's probably going to come. I don't want to entice it. The chances of lions jumping on a car are highly, highly minimal. I don't know of any cases where they've actually jumped in the car. Yeah, see that tail, huh?
Yeah.
So record that, please. Yeah, when in the car, when you're walking in the bush, starts growling at you. That throaty, deep growl, it's, yeah. Heart races. Okay, yeah. him out, he's yeah, I don't want to push him too much, eh?
No.
Just like I hit the cart and then drop. Yeah, so I think under the circumstances, ethically, we should actually move away from here. We're disturbing him and also just pushing it. I mean, unlikely he's going to jump the car, but there's always close time. It's also unethical to just keep pushing and pushing rather than move from a distance. What do you think? We'll go have a cup of coffee and we'll come back?
Yeah.
Maybe from a distance.
So crawling forward.
Interesting behaviour.
She's gone down.
Yeah. Maybe he wants her to, start recognising his masculinity or something. Essentially. And then those male lions, often it'll be two brothers or cousins, they'll move together as a team and then end up becoming nomadic for about 2 or 3 years, moving around in other lions' territories, bouncing around to the time when they are. So they're going to mates. Okay, stop. Back legs. Thought maybe it helps to get sperm to move down her reproductive canal. Like at night we can do it like every after 10 to 15 minutes. So if the offspring of this female, if it's successful, maybe there's 2 brothers. In 3 years' time they may become nomadic and they may move from this area in any direction. They could end up in Wangi in Zimbabwe, which is 800-900 kilometers away. They could go to the next concession in Moremi, so it varies. Also stimulate her to come into estrus fairly quickly, within 14 days. So the act of killing the old male cubs gets rid of his genes, but then also stimulates the female to come in estrus so that the new males can then spread the genes. Now, we'll leave them alone. Yeah, that's a common sign that we as walking guides use in the bush. If you're walking along, suddenly you hear an animal crash and he goes, that's a good sign. It's a buffalo running away from you.
Yeah.
You hear crashing bush and then
that's a bad sign.
Yes.
So glad they run that way.
Yep.
They're mostly females there, though.
Yeah, it's a small breeding herd.
Yeah.
Obviously it's lying up in the shade like cows, chewing the cud, waiting for it to get cooler. And then they'll come out. Typically we'll drink in the afternoon, depending on area. So this might be an idea for this afternoon. We can come back here and do a walk with a herd of buffalo.
Yeah.
Which is really fun. People are, oh, buffalo is dangerous. It's the buffaloes and herds are quite docile and really good for walking.
They feel safe, is it?
One's trying to mate while they're running away. That's it, eh? So they just move to a certain point, they'll stop. Sometimes it might happen now is all the bulls, the big calm guys, they come into the front where the danger is coming from. They create a line and then they start walking towards you, coming and looking, and it's not aggressive, it's just curious, curiosity. Other than walk up in herds, quite relaxed, fantastic walking. Sometimes you get into a bit too much. I was in Serengeti recently in February. We were stampeded by a herd of about 100 buffalo in the open. They didn't even know we were there. They were just confused and came running.
directly up in. That is curious. What are the other ones? Oh, yeah, over there.